Hello everyone, my name is Azatru. How are you? And welcome to another Star Wars Squadrons video. And in this video I'm going to be showing you gameplay of Squadrons in virtual reality. And I will also be sharing my thoughts on it because it is quite simply one of my favourite gaming experiences ever. It is so immersive, it is really well done. As a Star Wars fan who equally loves games, this is a big deal for me and a dream come true. Star Wars Squadrons in VR makes you feel like you are a rebellion pilot teaming up with Wedge Antilles, or you are part of the Empire. I've had a lot of requests to make this video, and I know a lot of you have not played this game in VR, or some of you have never even used VR at all, so I'm going to be sharing the main differences between the non-VR version of the game and playing it in virtual reality, and what is genuinely good about playing it in this new technology. So a bit of background context for those of you that are interested. I'm using the standard Oculus Rift with an Xbox One controller to play the game on the Steam version. The 3D effect does not appear on video because you are not watching it in virtual reality, and you need a headset to really feel the experience. But I will show you gameplay of the campaign and the multiplayer of me using it in virtual reality. Now, the graphics do look worse from the recording of the screen because you're only playing it at half the resolution as opposed to viewing double the resolution because of the two lenses in your headset. So that's why the quality does not look as good as, say, my other videos. But when it's up close to your eyes, it looks insane. The incredible texture and modelling work going on in the cockpit, or the artistry with the environments, it truly is spectacular. And this gameplay is just not representative of what you see in real life when using a headset. Also, I don't get motion sickness when playing VR games, but I played this for about an hour, and after doing crazy turns and drifts, it did leave me feeling a little bit uneasy, but that's probably just down to the nature of the movements I was doing. But obviously if you do suffer from motion sickness, you are probably going to experience some effects of that. Let's now move on to the menus before getting into gameplay aspects of it in VR, because this is the first thing that you see when you put on your headset and you start using the game in VR. So basically, they have been changed and tweaked to cater to the 3D effect. So the 3D models of the pilots and ships in the menu are in a 3D space in virtual reality. It's not just 2D image, they are actually there. You can move around and have a look at different angles of them right in the menu, which is cool, and like the UI for selecting the game modes and stuff is brought forward, so there's a lot of depth to the menu scene. And then the briefing rooms and the hangar in VR is obviously a lot better than playing it without it, because there is a bit more movement and freedom when looking around, which is great. You're not restricted to just one thumbstick looking around on a singular point, which is great. It really feels a lot more fluid. It also goes well with the customization menus, as you can take a better look at all of the cosmetics. For example, the entire body of a pilot is visible when selecting helmets, unlike when you're not in VR, you only get to see the helmet and a bit of their shoulders. But that isn't even the best thing, because when you are customizing your ship interior, whether it be the holograms or the charms or any of the other options, you can get really close to them just by moving your head. Instead of being stuck with one camera angle that you can't move forward, you can't rotate, anything like that without using VR, you can actually go right up close to these objects and take a much better look at the cosmetics, especially when you're going to be seeing them in front of your face all the time when you are piloting a ship. I also love the mission briefing holotable effect. Obviously this was expected to happen because it's a hologram, but it feels so realistic. It's like you could almost reach out and touch it. It's right there, the effect is amazing, and it really makes you feel like you are stood at this table with these people looking at a mission briefing, as opposed to just a static 2D image that doesn't have a whole lot of depth when you're stuck in a singular position looking at it when you're not using VR. And when you are talking to characters in-game, whether it be at the mission briefing or any other part of the game, and it doesn't have to be just squad mates, people like Hera or Wedge, it's such a surreal experience being eye to eye with these legendary characters, or people that are impacting the story. When you talk to Wedge or Hera, it feels like you are actually having a conversation with them eye to eye, which just adds so much realism to the campaign mode. Now for me, the only downside I could find with how they set up the VR experience is that it makes you taller than everyone else in the game, which does break the effect a little bit. For example, Hera and other smaller characters are fine, but you should definitely be a lot smaller than Shen, who appears, especially when you're not using VR, a lot taller. And it doesn't make sense for you to be taller than him unless you really are that tall, and I'm not. Speaking of the campaign, I am going to have to replay it all through the experience of VR, because it was amazing just doing a mission in VR, and I couldn't deal with it doing the entirety of the campaign in VR, but I'm going to do it at some point. I honestly didn't notice many issues when playing in VR, although there is a slight issue that isn't really Motive's fault, is that the cutscenes are worse when you're using a headset, because they are 2D pre-rendered videos or animations, and there is no 3D effect because it's not necessarily real-time rendered, it's all pre-rendered footage. And that was to be expected, and they did a good job making it a complete plain black background when you're watching the cutscenes, but you lose a lot of quality when you are watching it in virtual reality. The quality of the pre-rendered cutscenes are phenomenal when you're playing on ultra settings at 1440p like I did on a computer monitor, but it's not that good when you are playing with a headset, which is a real shame. I just wish it was able to adjust the size of the video or maybe bring it closer to you. I felt that it was a little bit too far back. I would have preferred it closer to my eyes, even if it degraded the quality a bit. It just felt a bit too far back. That's just me. I know some people have had some issues with the Origin VR version or some motion blur stuff going on, but I personally haven't really looked into that too much. I'm not super into all the details, but I had a lot of fun and I didn't experience any crashes. I know some people have. Personally, I have not experienced any, but I also heard that it runs pretty damn well on the PSVR as well. The frame rate is really well done, but there are a few dips here and there on really busy scenes, which is probably to be expected. I do wish there was a quick reset orientation button, because if you stand up or take off the headset to adjust it for whatever reason, it messes up the tracking and you'll be either way too low or way too high in the cockpit. Moving on to some more positive stuff, and aiming is better as you are literally using your head and eyes to aim. Wherever you look, that's where you're aiming. Just looking outside of the windows not only looks incredible, but it also offers some really helpful insights into some situations. For example, I looked behind me in my A-Wing, because you can see behind you in the A-Wing. It's got a really nice open cockpit and you can see behind you, and I was able to see how far my follower was behind me in terms of distance, get a bit of an idea whereabouts they are, what type of ship it was, and it just made that experience so much more realistic. Like, checking your distance and doing elaborate turns and drifting is also an incredible highlight. Seriously, if you don't have a headset or you have the opportunity to do use it, you've got to. Drifting in this thing is insane. So the on-screen footage does not really do it justice at all, but dogfights, when you're doing loops or drifting, and you're able to maintain a visual by looking above you, looking behind you, and then you get the kill, is exhilarating. I've never experienced anything like it. It's insane. But I'd love to hear your opinions on anything you've seen in this video. Do you have a PSVR? Have you checked it out? Have you got a Rift or a Vive? Please let me know down in the comments how are you enjoying it. But if you are new and you haven't already, and you're able to, it's 100% well worth getting on PC and getting into virtual reality for it. If this is your first experience, it's going to blow you away. Thank you so much for watching. I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Check out any of the 2 previous videos on screen if you did miss them, and I shall see you in my next Star Wars Squadrons video. Goodbye.